This week, I take you to the city of Ostróda. It's in the Warmian-Mazurian voivodeship, and it is essentially a beautiful spot where a lot of Polish tourists will come and check it out. There is a lot of rather interesting history attached to this city, some wonderful architecture, as well as some beautiful nature spots dotted around. It is in the heart of the Polish Lake District. So this video will be telling you about the city, what you can do, and what there is to see. So please stay tuned. Dzień dobry, and welcome to A Brit in Poland. This channel is going to bring you everything you need to know about Poland. I am exploring the country, bringing you the history, trying to tell you about the culture and show you what it is really like to live here. So feel free to check out my other media, Instagram, Facebook, and I will share links to those in the comments. I also have a website, www.britlivinginpoland.com, where I collate my videos for easy to view manner. Also, you are welcome to contribute to my efforts through Patronite or Patreon, and all descriptions are available below the video. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and please come back for more by subscribing, liking, or commenting. Thank you very much. Do zobaczenia. So Ostrda is in kind of the central north of Poland, very close to Olsztyn, which is the capital of this region. From Warsaw, there are a couple of options. You could take the train or you can take the bus. We took a Flixbus to get there, which, well, in the end it took about 4 hours, I think, because we got stuck in roadworks just outside of Magdalene. But we got there. It was a bit dark and late by the time we did, and we had to go to the campsite. So we had this rather steep decline to get to our camping site, and then we had to set up the tent in the dark. But once we were all settled, we basically decided to sit around the fire, cook some kielbasa, drink a few beers, a little bit of vodka, and just relax for the evening before we started to, let's say, properly explore the beauty that Ostrda had to offer. So we were situated in the kind of north of the city, next to this massive lake. And this gives you a little bit of an idea of the campsite we had. We had to wait for, let's say, the second group of people to show up. So in the meantime, we had a bit of breakfast. And some of us decided to chill by the lake. Some people decided, we'll give swimming a go. Though I think they quickly found that not only was the lake quite deep, but it was quite cold. We went in early September, so not quite out of season, but not quite full on summer. And some people got a little bit bored while waiting, so certain things were done. The campsite we went to was well equipped, plenty of wood for the fire, toilets, shower. You could rent kayaks, boats, water bikes, grills, whatever. But it was a bit outside of the city, so we took taxis to get to the center of Ostrda. And here we are in kind of the central point, which is the pier, and we all kind of congregated here to take a few group photos, to admire the lake a little bit, and to wait for everyone to arrive. But as you can see, beautiful, beautiful city. It's a very relaxing place, is the best way to describe Ostrda. Of course, we were hungry, so we went to this main restaurant we could find in the centre, which was actually Czech themed, which was a bit of a surprise. So we had Czech meals, Czech beer, Czech shots. So we indulged in a few different Czech delicacies, which was a bit surprising for somewhere in the middle of Poland. So we went to the castle, and the castle you could easily say is like the biggest attraction in Ostrda. So it's actually a Teutonic castle. You may know that from the red brick,
which is quite characteristic. It had these rather interesting figures around the outside. And the castle itself, well, it was constructed around 1350 to 1370, pretty early on in Ostróda's history. Though Ostrda itself, people figure it dates back to about 1270 when a watchtower was built and there was a castle, and this is the second castle. So we'd explored this castle. There's a museum. We were able to see quite a few different exhibitions. They had like a torture exhibit in the basement. They had an exhibit to Napoleon because he stayed here in 1807. And they had a room full of Polish armour. So you get an interesting mixture of histories here because, of course, this site was kind of originally Prussian, then Teutonic, then Polish, even Russian at one point. So it's been a number of different cultures, which is well reflected in the exhibits in this castle. And the castle itself, well, has an interesting history. It was destroyed in 1381, burnt by troops of Kieśniec, the Prince of Lithuania. It was rebuilt in 1410 for the war with Poland by the Teutonic Knights. It was destroyed in 1788, rebuilt in the same year, destroyed by the Russians in 1945, and rebuilt finally between 1977 and 1992. It contains at its peak a brewery, mill, forge, stables, sheds, granaries. It had artillery defences. And yes, as I mentioned, it changed hands a few times. It also has a moat, but I think the moat was only filled in the 18th century. But there is certainly, if you come to Ostrda, you have to come to this place. It's not too expensive. I think it was about 20 zloty or something for the ticket. But after the castle, we decided we were going to explore the town a bit because, well, for me, if I come to a Polish city and I don't have a decent walk around, I don't feel like I've done that city justice. So we spotted quite a few things. There was a lovely fountain and, some, rather, let's say, nice streets to walk down. It's certainly helped by the summer weather. I remember when I came here before, it was kind of May time and it was a bit dreary. There are quite a number of churches in Ostrda, and it's surprising how many you have in such a short area. This is like an Orthodox one. And so we were exploring, walking around, seeing these various churches. What we could get into, we went into, which wasn't much. But we were, impressed by the level of architecture. There was this lovely little tower, which I wish I could explain, but sadly cannot. And you had a real mixture of kind of old and new buildings. And there seems to be some connection they have to George and the Dragon, but I was not able to find that in any of my research. So let's just say it's a nice little bonus. This, I think, is the Gothic Evangelical Church. You are supposed to be able to get to the top of this tower to get a view of the city, though when we went there, we didn't find the entrance. I don't know if we missed it or if it was just closed at the time we went there. But it's a wonderful example of Polish architecture, very beautiful to behold. So we continued, and we found one more church. We just had church after church at this stage of the journey. And they're all in slightly different styles and all rather nice to look at on the landscape. But we decided, okay, we're going to head back through the city. And while you're seeing some of the random architecture we saw, let me tell you a little bit about the history. So up to 1370 is where we got with the castle. In 1410, after the Battle of Grunwald, Polish soldiers basically massacred the Teutonic refugees from the battlefield and occupied the town. In 1440, the town would enter the anti-Teutonic Prussian Federation. And during the Prussian War in 1519, it was recaptured by Polish King Sigismund, the Old, I think. It was briefly occupied by the Swedes in 1625. It was governed by Jan Christian of Brzeg between 1633 and 1639. In 1656, the city was ravaged by Swedes. It comes under the Russian occupation in 1758. There was a Great Fire in 1788. The Elblanc Canal, which is a canal linking Elblanc and Ostróda, was built in 1852. I will probably try to cover that in another video. In 1872, the railway comes to the city. In 1871, it goes to Germany. And in 1945, it was captured by Russia, with 60% of the buildings destroyed. So you have to imagine a lot of what you see today has been built after World War II, as with a lot of Poland. So this is you could say, the main area of the city. So you have this lake in the middle, Drzewka, which is surrounded by, some beautiful greenery on one side. On the other side, you have some, I don't know what this random construction was, but it was, worth me noting it down. You have some lovely parks. Here is a statue of a fisherman, which is normally surrounded by all these elaborate fountains, which weren't turned on, sadly. You have this wonderful boulevard that you can walk down. And here's some more of this George and the Dragon stuff. I really wish they would give an explanation for this mural, because something tells me there's got to be a myth there somewhere. So if somebody knows it, please let me know. There were various statues, lovely walking areas, and it was just a pleasant place. And then there's this old art, which again, I wish they would just put some signage to just give a little bit of context. But anyway, so with the lake itself, you can do a number of water sports, so water skiing, various boats you can hire. So there was quite a lot on offer for the potential holiday maker. There are a number of piers which allow you to just kind of stand into the water and admire the view. So you can see that really water is a very strong theme in Ostróda. It has about 5 lakes in total in the area. This amphitheater was built in 2012 and is used for all kinds of celebrations, including the Ostrda Reggae Festival, which is held once a year. And of course, there are a lot of nice hotels dotted around the river. There were these nice bridges going over, let's say, various canals that were sort of dotted through. And just plenty of beautiful views as you go along. So, as I say, it was very calming, very tranquil place. Really, really nice to just explore and get around. And if you've stopped for a beer or two, because there are a few bars in Ostróda, not too many from what I could see, but you have a few places you can stop and get a pint. And here was the Bismarck Tower. It was built in 1901 to 1905, and it had a fire lit in a copper bowl at the top. It's about 21 meters tall, made of granite. I don't know exactly its purpose, but it looks nice. As we're kind of getting towards the end of the city, we went to this beach area. So you have another pier, a nice beach that you can explore, or just swim or just sunbathe. And it's right next to this kind of water park area. So again, it's really catered for tourists, this city. You can, if you like the water, you are going to love this place. So after we explored the city, we decided we were going to take a hike back to the campsite. Unfortunately, it was about 7 to 8 kilometers, and a lot of that was kind of going down main roads. So here are some of the sights that we saw along the way, including, yes, another church. Who would have thought it? I wonder if there's some kind of competition for most churches in a Polish city. But there were horses, So a really nice tree, which, you know, is so nice that Google Maps points it out specifically as a nice tree. Maybe not word by word, but it does have a landmark. Luckily, we found some kind of forested areas that we could go along on our walk back to camp, which kind of broke up the constant traffic. And in the evening, we went back to drinking and spending time by the fire. Because if you're on a camping trip and you don't do this, are you really on a camping trip? The next day was more of a chill day. So this was our last day in Ostróda, and we decided we were going to just like chill by the water. You know, a number of people were, you know, going out for a swim. It was a bit warmer today, I think. And then we decided, you know, we're going to actually go onto the lake. So we hired a couple of boats, which were really cheap, something like, you know, 10 zloty an hour or something, you know, incredibly cheap. And a couple of kayaks, and we may have taken a few beers and some snacks. And yeah, we spent about 2 hours just exploring the lake and really just chilling on the water because, you know, you're on holiday, you got to enjoy it. And also it's an amazing way to kind of get out and appreciate the nature and just get away from like urban civilization for a bit. So this was really fun. You know, it was really nice to just get away. Definitely this is a place to come during the summer. I think in the winter it might be a little bit dreary, like a lot of Poland, sadly. But during the summer it is like heaven on earth. So relaxing. But thank you very much for watching as I leave you with a few last shots. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, please like, and plenty more of Poland to come in the near future. Do zobaczenia.